signing में वो disturb करेगा. Just hear and let me know if you can hear me clearly, okay?
Yeah.
Can you hear me? Am I audible? Thank you.
Just 1 second, let it get live.
Dr. Gayatri, is this for 1 hour? Narayanan sir पूछ रहे हैं.
Yes.
1 hour?
Yeah, now it's live. Yeah. Namaste. And a very good afternoon to one and all. Today marks the 3rd day of our International Deaf Week celebration. And we are proud to celebrate under the important theme of sign language advocacy. This theme brings the vital role sign language that plays in empowering the deaf community and ensuring equal access to communication and opportunities. In today's session, we are honored to have a panel discussion featuring 3 esteemed experts from the deaf community, Shri A.S. Narayanan sir, Atya ma'am, and Shri Akhil. Their insights and experiences will enrich our understanding and guide us towards stronger advocacy for sign language. Ashish will be doing the sign language interpretation. Kinjal is there. Miss Kinjal Shah is there, who will also be assisting us in sign language. Atya will be there also for voicing and signing. So thanks to you 3 for making us this as an accessible program. Now let me introduce our experts. It is with deep respect that we introduce Shri A.S. Narayanan sir, our distinguished leader and advocate for the rights of persons with deafness. As a president of National Association of the Deaf, he has been at the forefront of championing the cause of the deaf community in India and globally. His leadership extends through his roles as a board member of the National Center for the Promotion and Employment of Disabled People and an individual member of WFD, World Federation of the Deaf. Sri Narayan sir impact is further exemplified by his contribution to policy development as a member of Executive Council of ISLRTC and as a member of the Screening Committee for National Awards on World Disability Day. His dedication to shaping the national policy aligns with UNCRPD as well as RPWD Act. His exceptional service has earned him numerous awards, including NCP EDP Award, REX Karamveer Global Fellowship, REX Karamveer Global Fellowship 2015-16, and the Advocacy Excellence Award by Deaf Expo. That was in 2019. Sri Narayan sir, tireless commitment continues to inspire and advance the cause of disability rights, fostering a more inclusive society. Our another expert is Shri Akhil sir. I am honored to introduce Shri Akhil Chinoy sir, a true inspiration for the deaf community. Born in India, Akhil faced significant challenges due to limited accessibility. However, with the unwavering support of his loving parents, grandparents, and teachers, he pursued his education with determination. Today, when I met Lata Nayak ma'am, she is for a CRE program, and I told her that Akhil will be there for the panel discussion. She was so proud to say Akhil was my student, and that proud thing I could see her on her face and with a smile. So such a proud moment for a teacher as well as for the parents. Wow. So moving further with his introduction, he is excelling in the mainstreaming school. He did excel in his mainstream school. He became a respected leader and earned the title of Computer Whiz for his exceptional skills. Akhil furthered his education at Gallaudet University, Washington, D.C., where he honed his leadership and advocacy skills. Returning to India, he worked his way up to head of IT while continuing his efforts to empower the deaf community through leadership roles, including Vice President of NATH, India. Now in collaboration with Alok Kejriwal sir and Mansi Shah, he co-founded India Signing Hands Private Limited, launching Ish News, a groundbreaking platform for accessible news content. His journey is a testament to resilience, leadership, and a lifelong commitment to making the world more inclusive for all. Sorry. Okay. So our third panelist is Atya. It's my privilege to introduce our third panelist, Atya Haji, ma'am, a highly esteemed expert in the Indian Sign Language. When she joined the Indian Sign Language Cell at AYG NISHD. She served there for 3.5 years, gaining valuable experience before the transformation into the corporate sector. Her passion for language support continued as she took on the role of language support officer in the BASIS program at IGNOU. And later, she became a team lead at Emphasis Company. Her dedication to empowering the deaf community saw the rise to the position of CEO at the Haryana Welfare Society. Currently, she serves as the Director of Academics at the International Deaf Academy, Hyderabad, where she continues to make significant contribution to education and accessibility for the deaf community. Now, when we speak about sign language interpretation in India, Atya, along with Monica and Kinjal, are recognized as sign language interpreter leaders in the field in India. So such a proud moment. It is a proud moment for AYG and ISHD to see one of their former employees reach such heights in her career, making a meaningful impact. Now, thank you all for accepting our invitation, and let's start with a panel discussion. So as we all engage in the advocacy programs and we all being a part of the advocacy programs, I would like to open the floor to our esteemed experts with your vast experience. I guess everybody must be having more than 17, 20 years of experience. Minimum experience will be 20 years of experience, I guess. So can you share what does sign language advocacy mean to you, and how do you perceive its relevance during International Deaf Week?
Okay. Would Narayan sir start? Okay, I would like to say that advocacy is very important is because now in India, there are many hearing people who do not know in detail about the deaf. They just consider deaf as something who are different. They do not understand what their problem is, what barriers they face, and how the deaf people communicate. So they communicate through sign language. That is not important. So sign language is for the deaf, yes. And this awareness is not there among the hearing people. So how the deaf community to collaborate with the hearing community, to work with them, to support each other. The deaf people need to, I mean, for them to grow, to develop in work, in academics, in their life. So for that development, to achieve that, uh, like hearing schools, colleges, the government, general public, parents, they must know more about the deaf. Once they understand about the deaf barriers that they face, they'll be able to help them, collaborate with them, and they can work together. And that's why advocacy is important. Another reason is that we need the accessibility. If there is no accessibility, we lag behind. Movies are not accessible. Deaf do not understand any of these videos. There are so many barriers. Even in education, there is so much of barrier. Atya would add about the academics in this point. So for that awareness, because the awareness is missing, that is the problem. So once people know about the deaf, they are fully aware, then it's easy for the deaf and the hearing to work together and support each other so that the deaf can also grow like other people. So over to Atya then. Omkar, Omkar.
So I'll try and sign and speak at the same time because I think there's a bit of a challenge. Thank you, Akil, for highlighting the points of inaccessibility. I remember many years ago when I was really young. At that time, we would have news in sign language. I wouldn't even say ISL; I would say sign language on Sundays, right? And we would watch and we would wonder because there was a lot of right. And from there, I mean, and even prior to that, we would see in the environment there was no accessibility, there was no awareness. I will tell my own personal experience. My brother being deaf, the area that we used to live in, the other hearing children, they did not know how to even play or become friends with a deaf person. So a deaf person's life from the start till he grows up is always in isolation. वो हमेशा अकेला रहता है, उसके पास दोस्त नहीं होते हैं, वो छोटी उम्र में वो देखता है कि भाई इतने सारे जो बच्चे हैं वो खेल रहे हैं, फुटबॉल खेल रहे हैं, क्रिकेट खेल रहे हैं, बातें हो रही हैं, हंस रहे हैं, सब कुछ हो रहा है। लेकिन जो डेफ बंदा है सेम एज का है, लेकिन वो चुपचाप खड़ा है। तो आइसोलेशन जो है वो इतनी छोटी उम्र से शुरू होता है और वहां से उसको ये फीलिंग आती है कि भाई मैं थोड़ा अलग हूँ, मुझ में कुछ खामी है, कुछ कमी है। तो ये जो बाधा है इन एक्सेसिबिलिटी, इसको हटाना बहुत ही जरूरी है। और अगर आज की तारीख में हम देखें तो एजुकेशन को लेके आप सोसाइटी को लेके आप इतनी सारी जो अवेयरनेस हो रही है, सीरियसली आई मीन इट्स वंडरफुल वंडरफुल कि हम पहले जहाँ जो सिचुएशन थी वहां से अब आए हैं। तो अब ट्रूली लगता है कि भाई सेलिब्रेशन इज द राइट थिंग। पहले 23 सितंबर को हमेशा न्यूज़पेपर में हम देखते थे तो मुझे पर्सनली बड़ा गुस्सा आता था क्योंकि दे यूज्ड टू टॉक अबाउट ओ हियरिंग लॉस, फिर उसमें आप हियरिंग एड्स का इस्तेमाल कर लो, बट लैंग्वेज, कम्युनिकेशन, एक्सेसिबिलिटी, ये सब चीजें साइडलाइन हो जाती थी। तो यहाँ पे बहुत बड़ा योगदान जो है वो एनएडी का है, नारायणन सर का है, जिन्होंने इतनी जद्दोजहद की उस टाइम पे। मतलब मैं आई सॉ हिम इन 2001 2002 that Narayanan sir was advocating for accessibility, removing all the challenges, and today when we celebrate it is truly an achievement. मतलब हम वो कहते हैं ना कि बहुत पीछे वाली जगह पे थे, हम आगे बढ़ते 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 थोड़ा बेटर एक सिचुएशन हो गया है। एकेडमिक्स में भी अभी सिचुएशन थोड़ी बेहतर होती जा रही है। हमारे पास बहुत सारा कोर्सेज जो है वो एक्सेसिबल आईएसएल में अवेलेबल है, वॉइस ओवर्स हैं, सबटाइटल्स हैं, स्टोरीज अवेलेबल है, जो कितने सारे एनजीओज या ऑर्गेनाइजेशंस काम कर रहे हैं। सो आई थिंक दिस इज व्हाट एक्सेसिबिलिटी इज ट्रूली, एंड दिस इज इम्पोर्टेंट। एंड आई थिंक मोर जो ये पूरी जर्नी रही है वो नारायण सर बहुत सही तरीके से हमें बता पाएंगे और हम सबको अवेयरनेस दे पाएंगे। मैं वॉइस करूंगी सर के लिए। नारायण सर कह रहे हैं थैंक यू वेरी मच फॉर इनवाइटिंग मी फॉर दिस लाइव सेशन। Today is a very important day to create awareness. I remember long back 20 years ago, I used to meet people and I was part of the deaf community, and the biggest challenge was, people not understanding what sign language is. We thought that sign language is just gestures or a language that is used by, people who don't have sense. So me and my wife, we were sitting at a village, we were talking, and all the people in that village, वहां पे उस गांव में जितने लोग थे वो आके हमें घूर रहे थे। मैं और मेरी पत्नी, हम दोनों सांकेतिक भाषा का इस्तेमाल कर रहे थे बातचीत करने के लिए, और बस लोग घूरे जा रहे थे। हाँ, मुझे यूं लगा कि शायद हम कुछ गलत कर रहे हैं क्या, क्योंकि उस जमाने में इतनी अवेयरनेस नहीं थी। लेकिन आज जाके चीजें बदली हैं, सिचुएशन बदली है, और ये सब अवेयरनेस की वजह से हुआ है, ये एडवोकेसी की वजह से हुआ है। 1947 में हमें इंडिपेंडेंस मिला, राइट? 50 साल हो गए हैं, पर कोई भी ऐसे लॉज नहीं थे जो पीपल विद डिसेबिलिटीज को सपोर्ट कर पाए। 1995 का हमारा पीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट आया, जहां पर भी साइन लैंग्वेज या इंटरप्रेटर्स के बारे में बात नहीं की गई थी, सबटाइटल्स की बात नहीं की गई थी। एक जो बात की थी रिजर्वेशंस की, जॉब रिजर्वेशंस की, और दूसरा ये था कि हियरिंग एड्स या हियरिंग अप्लायंसेस देने के लिए। बट वो चीजें एक डेफ इंसान की लाइफ को पूरा नहीं करती हैं। तो फिर हमने जाके फिर एनएडी, नेशनल एसोसिएशन ऑफ द डेफ, 2005 में इस्टेब्लिश किया। हमने मिल के सारी डिसेबिलिटीज के साथ काम किया। हमने सीखा कि एक्सेसिबिलिटी का मतलब क्या होता है, एडवोकेसी का मतलब क्या होता है, क्योंकि अगर लॉ है तो सरकार हमारी मदद करेगी, अगर लॉ नहीं है तो सरकार कैसे हमारी मदद करेगी। ये चीज हमें फिर समझ में आई, और ये बहुत ही मुश्किल रास्ता था हमारे लिए। अब कुछ दिन पहले मुझे याद है 2016 का जो हमारा राइट फॉर पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटीज एक्ट है, आरपीडब्ल्यूडी एक्ट, उससे थोड़ा पहले एक कमिटी सेटअप हुई थी जहाँ पे डेफ लोगों को भागीदार नहीं बनाया गया था, और उनको लगा, सरकार को लगा था कि डेफ लोगों के लिए सारी सुविधाएं उपलब्ध हैं। तो लेकिन हम उनके पास दोबारा गए, हमने कहा साइन लैंग्वेज इतनी जरूरी चीज है। 80% जो डेफ पॉपुलेशन है वो साइन लैंग्वेज का इस्तेमाल करता है, और 20% जो है वो ओरल है। तो ये हमें कई बार चीज को इंक्लूड किया। तो और बहुत बार, ये एक बार की बात नहीं है, कई बार हमें ये चीज करनी पड़ी, ये हमें बातचीत करनी पड़ी, तब जाके अब जाके सांकेतिक भाषा को ये जो मान्यता मिली है या ये एक अवेयरनेस हुई है, ये आगे बढ़ने लगी, ये पहल शुरू हुई। दूसरी चीज ये है कि हमने जॉब रिजर्वेशंस में भी डेफ लोगों को इतना मौका नहीं मिलता था। फिर हमने इंटरप्रेटर्स के बारे में बात की, हमने सबटाइटल्स की बात की, फिर जाके आईएसएल-आरटीसी इस्टेब्लिश हुआ 2015 में। हमारे प्राइम मिनिस्टर श्री नरेंद्र मोदी जी, उन्होंने इसको बहुत सराहाया है, एंड आई एम वेरी ग्रेटफुल टू AYJ, NISHD एंड दी स्टॉलवर्ट्स, जिन्होंने इतनी मेहनत करी और हमें सपोर्ट किया, हमें वो योगदान दिया जिसकी वजह से हमें equal opportunities mile, and I'm thank you for inviting me to this panel as well.
Before we go further, I invite my director, sir, Dr. Suman Kumar, sir, to formally welcome the panelists and say a few words. Over to you, director, sir.
नमस्कार नारायणन सर, अत्या मैडम एंड अखिल सर को हमारे संस्थान की ओर से बहुत बहुत मैं आपका स्वागत करता हूं और आपको बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद देता हूं कि आपने हमारा निमंत्रण स्वीकार किया और हमारे पैनल डिस्कशन में आप शामिल हुए। नारायणन सर और आत्या मैडम से मेरी पहले भी मुलाकात है। नारायणन सर के साथ मैं फॉर्चुनेटली ISLRTC जब बन रहा था तो उस समय भी सर के साथ मैं मीटिंग में अटेंड करता था, और जब मैं RCI में था तब भी जब प्रोग्राम रिवाइज होते थे तब भी सर के साथ मुलाकात होती थी, और उषा पंजाबी मैडम के साथ भी मुलाकात होती थी, और गोपाल कृष्णन सर थे उनके साथ भी मुलाकात होती थी, और उषा मैडम थी उनसे भी मुलाकात होती थी। तो हम एज ए संस्थान 2001 के बाद से ही साइन लैंग्वेज में काम कर रहे हैं, और हम साइन लैंग्वेज को प्रमोट करने के लिए जितना भी भरसक प्रयास है, जितना भी हमारा कोशिश है वो करते हैं अपने तरफ से, और हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि इसको और आगे हम लेके जाएंगे, और हम लोग अलग अलग कार्यक्रम इस सप्ताह ऑर्गेनाइज कर रहे हैं, और हम लोगों को भी रिकॉग्नाइज कर रहे हैं ताकि जो इम्पोर्टेंस हो साइन लैंग्वेज का उसको बताया जाए, और कैसे हम एक इंक्लूसिव सोसाइटी बना सकें जिसमें सब लोग एक साथ रहें, मिलकर रहें, और उनका जो संप्रेषण है, कम्युनिकेशन है, वो बहुत ही अ, अच्छा हो। और
सॉरी सर, नारायणन सर कह रहे हैं कि उनको इंटरप्रेटर ठीक से दिख नहीं रहा है, तो अगर आप मुझे स्पॉटलाइट कर देंगे तो मैं इंटरप्रेट कर पाऊंगी, इफ दैट इज ओके विद एवरीवन। थैंक यू, सॉरी सर।
हाँ मैम, सॉरी। तो हम लोग का कोशिश है मैडम कि अगर साइन लैंग्वेज प्रमोट होगा तो हमारा इंक्लूसिव सोसाइटी होगा, एजुकेशन में भी इम्प्रूवमेंट होगा। जैसा सर ने बोला कि बहुत सारे लोग हैं जो साइन लैंग्वेज यूज करते हैं, तो अगर उनको हम जिस भाषा में बताना चाहते हैं उस भाषा में अगर हम उनको बताएं तो उनके लिए भी फायदा होगा, और अगर उसको एक लैंग्वेज का दर्जा मिल जाएगा तो और ही अच्छा होगा, ताकि उनको आगे इंडिपेंडेंट होने में, एजुकेशन में, वोकेशन में और अलग अलग चीज़ों में उनको फायदा होगा। अभी हम एक्सेसिबिलिटी की बात कर रहे हैं। एक्सेसिबिलिटी सिर्फ पहले ट्रांसपोर्ट के इंटर में देखा जाता था, लेकिन अब एक्सेसिबिलिटी एजुकेशन, इंटरटेनमेंट, स्पोर्ट्स, लीगल, हॉस्पिटल, एवरीथिंग हमारा चल रहा है। कि अभी हमारा जो इंडियन साइन लैंग्वेज डे के अवसर पे 25 वेबसाइट को लॉन्च किया गया था, और ISLRTC ने भी बहुत सारे डॉक्यूमेंट्रीज रिलीज किए हैं जो बहुत सारे टॉपिक्स के ऊपर है, जिससे हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि जो हमारे पर्सन विद डिसेबिलिटी, हियरिंग इम्पेयरमेंट है, उनको बहुत फायदा होगा, और आगे अच्छा काम भी होगा। और हम उम्मीद करते हैं कि ये सेलिब्रेशन कुछ आगे बढ़ा है और आगे बढ़ना है, क्योंकि अभी हम लोग अपनी मंजिल तक पहुंचे नहीं हैं, और हमें आगे जाने की जरूरत है, ताकि हम बहुत सारे लोगों को अपने मुकाम में शामिल करें और अच्छा काम करें और सबको एक साथ ले चलें। हमारे साथ जुड़ने के लिए आप लोगों को पुनः बहुत बहुत धन्यवाद।
थैंक यू सर, थैंक यू। नारायणन सर और अखिल सर दोनों थैंक यू कह रहे हैं सर, मेरी तरफ से भी
ये
thank
मैं वेलकम बोला मैम उनको।
you।
थोड़ा तो मुझे आ, आती है साइनिंग एग्जैक्ट इंग्लिश, ISL।
जी, नारायणन सर कह रहे हैं बिल्कुल बिल्कुल, आपसे मुलाकात हुई तो उस टाइम पे आप
जी
का कॉन्वर्सेशन था साथ में, तो
जी मैम,
Thank you,
आप
sir.
आगे लेके। जी
Thanks,
मैम।
thank you, sir. Thank you so much for a warm welcome. Let's continue further. जो हमने पहले सवाल शुरू किया with regard to the advocacy, and if I have to just conclude your first question का answer and the interaction, I will say as an educator, For the deaf, three things are very important: experience, exposure and environment. अगर ये तीन सही पे टाइम पे मिले and with a proper language exposure, language experience and a language environment, तो yes, the child can be independent and a contributing citizen. So moving further, um, एक second, let me just change the spotlight. Yeah. So moving further, you all have been interacted with so many individuals globally. Okay. So now I am curious to know your insights on how does sign language advocacy differ across various countries. Can you share some examples of successful advocacy efforts you have encountered on a global scale?
Narayanan sir is saying that, if you could repeat the question and I will interpret for him. So,
Sure.
yeah, thank you.
Sure. Yeah. So, as you all have a vast experience and, sorry, yeah, as you all have a vast experience and you have all have interacted with so many individuals globally, national, international level. So now I am curious to know your insights on how does sign language advocacy differ across various countries. Can you share some examples of successful advocacy efforts you have encountered on a global scale?
All right. Yeah, so Narayan sir is asking if I would voice for him. तो सही मायनों में जब हम आई हैव ट्रैवल्ड अ लॉट इंटरनेशनली फॉर द वर्ल्ड फेडरेशन ऑफ द डेफ कॉन्फ्रेंस वर्कशॉप्स. I've met a lot of delegates, brilliant leaders in the space of deaf advocacy, sign language advocacy, and what I really learned from them was, it starts from the very basic. When you start advocacy, you need to start from, when a child is really young, means from academics, basics, from there, because that is where it starts. It's the foundation that you're talking about. And when you start advocacy from academics, you kind of, cascade it over the years to the different aspects of life. In the deaf population that we have in India right now is huge, and while we are advocating, for sign language use and awareness, it's not enough. Over the years, 20-24 years, today I can say that we are we are better than other countries globally. We have got brilliant support in terms of using sign language. I have 10 points out of which I will speak about a few. When we talk about the RPWD Act 2016, very clearly states the use and need of sign language. Then also interpreters, earlier when ISL RPC was established, we started with the whole interpreter training program. We had the diploma training program. The interpreters didn't have jobs, they didn't have employment. After their completion of their diploma, they would wonder what to do next. So then now we have avenues open for them. We've started talking to organizations saying that you need to have interpreters in spaces, which again builds accessibility for people. We didn't have opportunities for deaf people as professionals in various spaces or deaf teachers in academic spaces. But that also now has changed. Now, the Ministry of Social Justice and Empowerment and the Ministry of Education, both of them, both these departments, they have started this entire, process where they want deaf teachers, deaf trainers, along with interpreters. So there are so many avenues of employment for deaf people right now. So it's a beautiful beginning. It's really wonderful, and I think we will really move ahead, many folds. And most importantly, this will all lead to better communication for the deaf population in the country. And one thing that really surprises me, with the NEP 2020, there also it is very clearly mentioned the need and use of sign language. I think we started talking about it in 2018, when we spoke about national education policy. And at that time in 2018, there was no mention of ISL or sign language for that matter. Again, we took it on ourselves to go and educate, the policymakers, talk to them about it. And now today it is there in NEP as well. We have a lot of funding to do work in the area of sign language, and I think that is absolutely brilliant. Again, the collaboration, the creation of a lot of content, the K to 12 content that is there, that is improving it, in an accessible format. So it is just absolutely beautiful. In other countries, we do not have so many deaf trainers or teachers, but we have it here. So I think these developments are wonderful. I think we all are born, the deaf community of India are the citizens of India. So I think this is also very important for sign language to have that official recognition as a language, a national language. And I think that will take us furthermore ahead. I think that is really the need of the hour and my hope that this happens.
Add here. Switch the spotlight, Gatrima. Okay, fine. So I agree 100% to what Narayanan sir said, that ISL recognition in India is important. We need to add it as an official language. I agree to it 100%. It will also influence, the International Week of the Deaf that we are advocating about. It will help the awareness as well. Like one example is in 2006, in New Zealand, the New Zealand was the first country to where the government announced that sign language is an official language of New Zealand. They recognize the New Zealand Sign Language as a language there. So far in 2023, South Africa has recognized their sign language as an official language. That's wonderful, and I hope that this year or maybe the next year, with the awareness that that we are spreading, and the government would also, and ISL-RTC with the dictionary that they are developing and all the work that they are doing, I hope to see that ISL also gets recognized in India and becomes one of the language of the constitution. So that's awareness is important.
Yeah, Narayanan sir would like to add something more to it. Uh, I'm so sorry to interrupt, but yes, definitely I want to add something. I really want to take this opportunity to thank the government. Earlier when in 2017, when we had the International Day of the Deaf, the celebrations, we would talk about international sign languages, and in 2017 and 2018, this is where it kind of started, where the recognition, or even the recognition, and also the whole thought that yes, we need to pay attention to sign language. And this we push this onus to the government so that they need to take this up at a national level. And the government, the ministry, they educated us, they guided us of what we can do, how we can make this change, how we can gain support from government agencies to be able to take this nation across the nation. So that is the efforts that we took over. And I would say in 2018 November around, I was a little doubtful, but I again went to the ministry and I said, please, we need that support. We need that, extended support to do this. And we were assured of it. We again sent out a letter to the Prime Minister, and the Prime Minister took that on top priority, and we proceeded with this. It opened doors for us, and that was for the first time that sign language nationwide had that recognition and support, and I think that was absolutely brilliant. So things changed. The Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister, mentioned sign language in his speeches, and it doesn't happen only in one place. It happens across the country. It happened in Punjab, Chandigarh, so many places. And I'm really hopeful that things will change in the future, because when we talk about 3rd December, we talk about International Day of Disabilities. We need a similar kind of an, nationwide celebration of that same standing to recognize the deaf community of India. Thank you. I would like to add something. So similarly, what previously Akhil said and even Narayanan sir said, that it starts from the beginning. I saw for myself when I'd been to Sweden for a project, and I was amazed because in Sweden the government announces, you know, a paid leave for the parents whose children are deaf. So they allow the parents to go sit and learn sign language so that with their children they can communicate more effectively. Then the school system, anywhere that you go shopping to a mall, everyone is using sign language. So you cannot recognize if a person is deaf or hearing. It is everywhere. And I think that kind of advocacy, that kind of accessibility for the general public is so important, because then the deaf person will not feel alone. He feel like everyone's there with me. Communication is all over the place. And I think that is important for us in India also, that in schools, we should have this promotion to invite parents to come and learn sign language. The teachers must, learn sign language. Some of them do sign. Most of it is gestures. That's not enough. The teacher needs to know more skills in ISL than the children. But it is the opposite. The children sign so beautifully and the teachers are just gesturing. Not enough. The teacher has to be better than the children. So this needs to change. I think that is the area where we need to really work harder to change that situation as well. So yeah, that was my 2 cents to the whole thing.
Very rightly said. Yes, the changes are happening, though the changes are slow. Am I audible? Yeah.
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, fine. Yeah. So yes, I agree. The changes are happening and changes are very slow. Like for an example, if I have to give, हम अभी बहुत सारे मटेरियल्स बना रहे हैं यूट्यूब पे विथ रिगार्ड टू द डिप्लोमा इन स्पेशल एजुकेशन, बैचलर्स इन स्पेशल एजुकेशन, मास्टर्स इन स्पेशल एजुकेशन. सो वी आर मेकिंग वीडियो कंटेंट विद एन इंक्लूजन ऑफ एन ISL, सो दैट जो भी डेफ बच्चे पढ़ रहे हैं बीएड में, एमएड में या डिप्लोमा में, उनके लिए वो कंटेंट एक्सेसिबल बन जाए. So we are just taking few steps. We have just launched 50 videos content recently. So we are planning to, increase our content videos as well. So yes, changes are happening. तो जैसे आत्या ने कहा कि पहले जैसा था अब वैसा नहीं है. Yes, changes हो रहे हैं, धीरे धीरे होंगे, and I'm sure कि changes positively और होते जाएंगे. So moving further, आप सब advocates हैं and
Narayanan sir says absolutely, I agree with you.
thank you. So, आप सब एडवोकेट्स हैं और आप सब एडवोकेसी के अलग अलग प्रोग्राम्स करते हैं ये हफ्ते एंड पूरे साल भर में विथ रिगार्ड टू डेफ एजुकेशन, एक्सेसिबिलिटी, इंक्लूसिव एजुकेशन. आप बहुत सारे प्रोग्राम्स करते हैं, बट आप बहुत सारे चैलेंजेस भी फेस करते होंगे ये सब चीज को करने के लिए. सो व्हाट आर द मोस्ट सिग्निफिकेंट चैलेंजेस फेस्ड बाय एडवोकेट्स ऑफ साइन लैंग्वेज राइट्स, and how do you think these challenges can be effectively addressed?
Can you see me? Is Narayan sir is asking if I can see him. We need to see Narayan sir, please.
Done?
Yes,
okay?
yes, that, yeah, brilliant. Thank you. So I think the biggest challenge is the families. The biggest challenge that we see while we do the advocacy is the families not being able to communicate with the deaf children. They not being able to work with the deaf children is within the family unit. That I think that is the biggest problem, because the child goes to school only at the age of 5 or later. After that, the child picks up a lot from the exposure from society, right? So my two children, I am deaf. My children both are hearing. They've learned sign language from me, and when they went to school, they came back and they were totally bilingual. English, our our mother tongue, and sign language. What the world thinks, what the society thinks, is that if hearing children are taught sign language, they will not be able to speak. And I think that's really a silly, stupid thought, notion. I think what is important is with a deaf child, if you're not going to give the deaf child language from a very early age, the child is not going to grow cognitively. And then when the child loses that whole, the whole time of learning, the period of learning, he's not going to grow in life, because after a certain age the communication that he's going to be exposed to is going to be very basic. How will he build himself for a better future? This has happened with us. So that is the first challenge. Right now, technology, YouTube, all of these things are really helping us, because so many things are available online. So things have changed, yes, but I think the first challenge that we really see is that the parents need to be better aware. They need to learn sign language. Teachers need to have better proficiency in sign language, and I think then there will be no problems, and we will have equal opportunity for even the deaf community. In our prime minister has said that in the next 100 years things would be much better, right? And yes, definitely I'm very hopeful towards that, and we need to really look at that aspect as well.
Yeah, can you spotlight Mr. Akil now? Yeah, I agree with what Mr. Narayanan said. There's a big problem with the deaf. While growing up, they did not have they were deprived of the language. When the child is growing up, when the child is born deaf, they should be given sign language accessibility. So with that, sign language is their natural language. Once they understand, they don't need to hear the sound more. It's visual. Okay, so the deaf people will automatically start learning things and picking up things very fast. And the hearing parents do not know how to sign. They speak with them, they try and be oral with them, and that's the big problem that the deaf face. And but I hope moving forward that uh, early
Early
intervention, yeah, with
intervention.
the early intervention center that that have started, and the parents are now more aware about when the deaf child is born deaf, they know what to do, and they know that sign language important is that they are confident of learning sign language. The deaf do not have any problem, they can grow as or any other hearing child. Second thing is education is the most important thing, right? Education, accessible education, where deaf can grow with the teachers who are teaching them should sign. That's when they will build up a good relation and learn better. From the technology perspective, TV, movies, any any technology that communication for that is used for communication should have sign language accessibility. Like ISH has translated several movies in sign language, so these many deaf people are involved. They love watching these movies, they learn from that. All their growing up years they never had this kind of accessibility. For children, we've started ISH kids, the stories in sign language. So for them, when they see the stories, they pick up new words, pick up a lot of vocabulary which they were missing. Hearing children through YouTube videos, to 2D and 3D videos, they pick up a lot of things, but the deaf lag behind. Now with these movies and these videos in sign language, the stories in sign language, the deaf and hearing both can sit together and watch, share, talk to each other. That's the should be the aim of inclusive education, and that is the technology perspective. And again, with the news, the same thing goes with ISH news. We give the news with subtitles and a voiceover, which becomes accessible for everybody. There are a lot of hearing people who watch ISH news because it has sign. Then along with the sign, there is subtitles, there is voiceover, so they learn on new words as well. So that's another good example of inclusive setup. All the deaf leaders, we need to advocate for this, for these new suggest. We should suggest this for to achieve our aim of for the deaf community. Now I want to see the government and general hearing people, parents of deaf, to be involved and support us this concept and encourage, like how AYJ and ISHD is now right now doing, and have an we are very happy to work with all of you all, so that the aim is to achieve our goal, so that the next generation of the deaf develop better, they grow better and have an independent life. That should be the aim that we have.
I think there's one thing that we need to add also. We all live in cities, right? So city, there is awareness. You get to see so many things time and again. You hear about some advocacy, so many things. But when you go to the rural spaces, even now, today we are in 2024. Still in the villages, they believe that if a child is born with disability or he's deaf, then there is some karma, some punishment, and they don't want to come out, they don't want to change their mind. That is such a big problem. We have to, when we do this advocacy, we have to go to these rural spaces also. It is very important. We cannot leave them, no. They are also part of the community, of the deaf community, of the whole society. So pulling them in, or we going to them, that is also important. And another sad thing is that in the rural spaces, technology is not going to help, because mobiles, they go the simple mobile, that keypad thing. Smartphones are not there. That is again another big challenge. Even if we do advocacy, the villages will always be behind. That also is something that I think is a challenge and a challenge for all of us.
I just want to add one thing. When Narayanan sir and Akhil sir said, and even Atya said कि टीचर्स का साइन लैंग्वेज ज्यादा अच्छा होना चाहिए बच्चों से, एंड टीचर्स को एंड पेरेंट्स को पता होना चाहिए साइन लैंग्वेज के बारे में, ताकि कम्युनिकेशन साइकिल कंप्लीट हो सके एंड अच्छी हो सके. अब ये मेरा पर्सनल एक्सपीरियंस है. आई डोंट नो इट्स biased or it's not biased, I don't know, but it's my personal experience. Why is it that wherever I go for the conferences or wherever I go and attend the webinars, I see these known faces: Kinjal, Monica, Atya as a sign language interpreters. And when we talk about deaf leaders, again, same old Madan sir, Narayanan sir, Peter Kill, Sunil, Shivaji, nowadays Sapan to some extent. And Usha Punjabi ma'am is always there. Punjabi family is always there. But कहीं ना कहीं लीडर्स की कमी है, कहीं ना कहीं जो बहुत फ्लुएंट इंटरप्रेटर्स हैं उनकी कमी है. Now, being an AYG and ISHD, we do run DISLI and DTISL courses, but I don't know the reason why कि इनमें बढ़ोतरी क्यों नहीं है. जब तक लीडर्स नहीं आएंगे ज्यादा, तब तक ट्रांसफॉर्मेशन कैसे फास्ट हो सकता है. So we need young leaders also. So any say for that?
I agree. We need good leaders, very very important, and deaf leaders. And second thing is, what we have seen so far is that any decision, when there's something to set up a school or a college or any new idea, some creativity, some technology, something to set up, people who start planning that time, they never involve deaf people in that. So it's always that people start thinking about the idea, the concept, and they start setting it up, and then they give it to the deaf people community. But if you want to achieve, if you have the idea, when you are setting up, you should have, first thing is to have a deaf person involved in that. Ask the deaf person. There are many deaf experts. Involve them, and then with their suggestions and their opinions, you can use that and you can decide whatever, but then they should be a part of the discussion. That model will definitely be a successful model. So this international week of the deaf, and the sign language day, the hearing people need to understand, they should be aware. Plus in the future, whenever they're planning something, they should involve deaf leaders in that. That's a suggestion.
Yeah. Yeah. Narayan sir, want to say something? Yeah.
Thank you. So what Akhil said just now, that you need to have deaf people when there are policies being planned. But the biggest challenge is that hearing people don't understand this. They think that deaf people, when we use sign language or we are deaf, the hearing community feels that they are here to help us, but they don't understand our experiences because they've not lived our lives, right? And the role that they take is that of advice. They will advise people with disabilities. They'll say, we will help you, we will find you solutions. And that is very disappointing, very upsetting for all of us. And this is across all disabilities. And I will not say that the hearing community is at fault. I think what they need to understand is that we share equal platform. We have the same capacity and capabilities as them, and we can be part of all these policy making, activities, and then things would change. A simple example: in 2016, 17, around that time, on television, we wanted to have an interpreter. We spoke to the government. Government said, okay, we will accept and give you that accessibility. We have the parade 2000, during the 2016. They gave only one interpreter. On Didi Bharati, only we had an interpreter. We wanted on the national television, and they said, no, no, we cannot show it on national television because the national television will be shown broadcasted across. So we will give you a slot only for the Didi Bharati channel. uh, Ideally, it would have made such a huge change. It would have made the whole community proud. Also, it would have created so much awareness. But it took us 2 long years to advocate, also educate people to get interpreters available on national television as well. And again, when the interpreter was there on the television, the interpreter was in a very small window while the entire frame was used by the hearing people or the visuals that were there. Slowly, it took us time, and now we share 50% of this frame with the interpreter. So, yes, it is a long journey, it is a gradual journey, but we need to. I mean, people need to understand that this is our right. They have to give this to us. I'm sure it will change. I'm hopeful.
Very rightly said, Narayanan sir. Just wait, let me change the spotlight. Sorry. Yeah. Very rightly said, sir. So, when we are talking about the accessibility or the inclusive education or the sign language promotion, so how can media platforms such as television, films, or a social media contribute to the raising awareness and advancing the sign language advocacy? For a simple example, when Kinjal told me, now Kinjal being my friend, when Kinjal told me that sign language में एक movie आई है कपिल देव की, सो जितने लोगों को पता, जिस जिसको आप जानते हो आप उनको बता दो, तो चलो मैंने तो सबको बता दिया, ओके। फिर भी मुझे पता चला, मेरे पूरे ग्रुप को पता चला एंड उनके ग्रुप को पता चला, ठीक है। सो पर कहीं ना कहीं तो फिर भी अवेयरनेस की कमी है। सो ये मीडिया प्लेटफॉर्म किस तरीके से अवेयरनेस को और एडवांस कर सकती है अकॉर्डिंग टू यू? Akil, your voicing Kinjal, voicing Kinjal, voicing Kinjal.
1 second. Yeah. Okay. So my suggestion would be that for more awareness through media, first what we can do is the theaters in India, all over India, must have a special day for deaf people. Maybe 2 days, 3 days, keep aside for screening movies for the deaf with sign language, so that the deaf people go, when there are movies with sign language, that is already voice. There are parents who can attend see these movies. There will be grandparents who can go and watch these movies. That they can spread the word around, and that will help. That is one way. Other thing is TV news, the newspaper, the interviews, the brand, the companies, the brands. what the advertisements that they make for the general public must include sign language, have sign language translation for that. So that's when people watch watch TV or watch news, they will understand that okay, there is something about sign language that is, it's beneficial for the deaf community. And with these translations, it will help make people make right decisions. It will help deaf people to make the right decisions and buying certain things. So far the deaf people have been depending on their parents to buy things as well. So when these advertisements are not accessible, when the advertisements become accessible, it will help the hearing people also to understand and be aware, and the deaf to. Plus, the print media, the newspapers should write a lot about deaf people, about the deaf leaders, about role models, and keep on telling people about them. So that will help the hearing people become aware about deaf, and they will understand that deaf too are successful. They also can achieve things in life. They are independent. So a lot of information, lot of awareness needs to be given in the media. So those were my suggestions.
Narayanan sir would like to add. Yeah, thank you. I think there are 2 points that I would like to add to this. For example, Amitabh Bachchan. Okay, yeah, Amitabh Bachchan, or you have film stars. Okay, you have film stars, or you have Salman Khan, Shah Rukh Khan, people who use sign language or know about sign language. We need to use them as ambassadors, or they need to come forward as ambassadors to be able to talk about this and normalize this. Then also with the government in the Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, we need to have people talking about sign language. I think this will create the largest impact to make the changes.
Yeah, I agree. If we have more of brand ambassadors, like now we are working for a brand ambassador for NIHH as well. So we are contacting the deaf experts to be a brand ambassador. तो जैसे ही कहा कि लोकसभा या राज्यसभा या जितने MLAs MPs वो लोग भी अगर साइन लैंग्वेज के बारे में बात करेंगे तो रीच आउट ज्यादा अच्छे से होगा. तो जैसे हम NIs वाले कहते हैं कि अनरीच द रीच पॉपुलेशन और वो गैप को कम करने के लिए यस वी रियली रिक्वायर ब्रांड एम्बेसडर्स. So yes, government is taking steps like we have national curricular framework, we have national education policy, which is talking about sign language. So how do you think sign language advocacy can influence the inclusion of sign language in school curricula or higher education?
Okay, if you could repeat that, because Narayanan sir says he was unable to follow the interpreter. So if you could repeat that, I will interpret.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now we have national education policy, okay, and national curricular framework of school education, and Narayanan sir is a part of the ITEP, wherein we are making the integrated education, BA,
He's in
B.Ed, BSc.
NCERT. He's part of the NCERT
Yes,
committee.
yes, he's a part of NCERT as well as he's a part of a deaf expert group जहाँ पे हम इंटीग्रेटेड एजुकेशन की बात कर रहे हैं BA, B.Ed, BSc, B.Ed एंड उसमें भी हम साइन लैंग्वेज के कंपोनेंट्स ऐड कर रहे हैं राइट ही इज अ पार्ट ऑफ इट सो गवर्नमेंट एक्शन ले रही है गवर्नमेंट सपोर्ट कर रही है साइन लैंग्वेज एडवोकेसी के लिए ठीक है सो हाउ डू यू थिंक साइन लैंग्वेज एडवोकेसी कैन इन्फ्लुएंस the inclusion of sign language in a school curricula and higher education. For an example, हम हिंदी इंग्लिश मराठी लेते हैं महाराष्ट्र में सो हमको ये एक ऑप्शन होना चाहिए कि मैं हिंदी इंग्लिश साइन लैंग्वेज ले सकूं इन स्कूल करिकुला राइट इवन इन हायर एजुकेशन 11th 12th में जब हम जाते हैं तो मैंने इंग्लिश और हिंदी लिया था एज अ सब्जेक्ट बट एक चॉइस होना चाहिए था कि इफ आई कैन गेट इंग्लिश एंड साइन लैंग्वेज एज अ सब्जेक्ट सो उसके लिए व्हाट इज योर ओपिनियन.
All right. So for this, thank you. Again, I would really thank the government of India, where they have started talking about sign language in on their different platforms. क्योंकि यहाँ से वो पहल शुरू होती है. हम integrated education की बात करते हैं. What we really need is quality interpreters, qualified interpreters, teachers with good skills in sign language. You talk about different languages, right? The vernacular languages that we have, regional languages that we have. I definitely, yes, we need to have sign language there. That is my dream also. And we have been advocating for this. Also, we need to have deaf teachers placed in different schools. There are around 25 lakh schools across India. What I would really recommend is maybe 1 lakh schools, right? The number of schools. You could have deaf teachers working there. You could have interpreters working there. You could have interpreters working in universities, in designated spaces. And I think that is something that I am definitely pushing. This is not part of the policy right now, right?
Yeah.
Finally, it's not even identified as a job post as of now. That is our first challenge. Once this gets recognized, that this is a kind of a post that is required. Once this comes into place, we will definitely have more deaf teachers. We'll have interpreters available, and then all the ministries that work in the space of education and social justice, they will be able to support us to get this going. However, I have one fear with interpreters. If the interpreters are good, they have good proficiency, I think it will be beautiful. But if you have interpreters with no skills in sign language, I think then that becomes another challenge that we need to work on. And I think it's really, really important to have, a very immersed kind of a training for interpreters, so that we have good proficiency interpreters across the country. Um, Quality education is also something that is required, even if it's for interpreters and special educators. It will change, yes. Children have these, interpreters, have these special teachers with the right sign language skills. Our complaints will reduce, right? Our resentment towards the system will reduce. And I think that is something that's important. I'll share something, on a lighter note. Uh, when a person if a person sits and talks about, it complains about everything, the hearing community looks at it and says, oh, deaf people are always complaining. But for the hearing world, everything is so accessible. Incidental, exposure is everywhere. So that, I think, is important as well. We need to look at that.
I would like to add something very short, if we can change the spotlight. Same, I also have the fear that Mr. Narayanan has. If the interpreter is very skilled, there are very few of them. We need a lot of interpreters. For even for our work in ISH, we need a lot of interpreters. But similarly, my suggestion is that if the interpreter wants to be qualified, wants to become better, after the curriculum is done, after the course is over, I think we should add one line in that as a rule, that after the interpreter course is done, uh, one of the requirement will be that the interpreter must be a part of the deaf community. Meet maybe give some specific hours, like every day 2 hours or something like that, and that's how, if they are part of the deaf community, they'll become better interpreters. Center for training have to grow. We need more centers like that. I know NIHH has like one of the best centers that we have. ISLRTC is another one, but we need a lot of more centers, and we need to push for that.
I would like to definitely add something there, because
Yeah.
we're talking about interpreters. So, can see me? Okay, thank you. So with interpreters, I think that is the same fear that Narayanan sir has, Akila has, and so many from the deaf community, they fear the same thing. Now there are so many, interpreters joining the course, learning, and very quickly going on to sign, to interpret. But quality is a big question mark. Our deaf leaders or even deaf friends, when they are signing, and that has to be converted into spoken language, there is so much of gap, there is so much of distortion of information. It's shocking, and it is very saddening. So it is important that all the people who are interested to learn sign language and then work as professional interpreters, please must, you know, uh, from your heart, from your heart and your mind, both of that, be dedicated. This profession of being an interpreter is wonderful. You become the voice. When a deaf person is signing and you're speaking, you are the voice over here. So it is a huge responsibility. You cannot just take it very lightly and say, I'm the interpreter, everybody's looking at me and I'm very famous. No, it's a responsibility. And you have to be involved in the deaf community. You may spend 2 years in your, Disley program or whatever. Not enough. We have spent 22 years, maybe more, with the community. Still, we make mistakes. Still, our deaf leaders, they'll catch us and say, that was wrong. And we are always, when we stand to interpret, we are always like, we are always doing that. We are fearful कि हमने थोड़ी गलती कर दी तो कितनी बड़ी गलती हो जाएगी, पर हम ऐसे बस खड़े हो गए और काम चल लिया, नहीं होता है. हमारे पास बहुत बड़ी जिम्मेदारी है और उसको बखूबी निभाना है. उसके लिए हमें ट्रेनिंग की जरूरत है, हमें इन्वॉल्व होने की जरूरत है. डेफ कम्युनिटी में नया नया क्या हो रहा है उसके बारे में जानना बहुत जरूरी है. अभी बहुत अच्छा वक्त है कि आईएसएच में इतनी सारी चीजें आप बाहर भेजते हो, आप वो देख सकते हो, आप वॉइसिंग को सुन के अपने आप को इम्प्रूव कर सकते हो. कितने प्लेटफॉर्म्स हैं, पर आप अपने आप को लिमिट, हाँ मेरा सर्टिफिकेट हो गया, मैं इंटरप्रेटर हो गया, नहीं. जिम्मेदारी है तो प्लीज प्लीज प्लीज, जितने भी डिस्ली वाले हमारे स्टूडेंट्स हैं, हमारे फ्रेंड्स हैं, मस्ट टेक दिस वेरी सीरियसली और एथिक्स को फॉलो करें. कोई भी ऐसा काम ना करें जिससे डेफ कम्युनिटी नाराज हो जाए और आप उनका दिल तोड़ दो. वो नहीं करना. डेफ कम्युनिटी को हमें बहुत रिस्पेक्ट करना है. हम आगे और डेफ कम्युनिटी पीछे, ऐसा नहीं होता. हम साथ चलते हैं, हम उनके साथ हैं, हम उनके लिए काम नहीं कर रहे हैं. सो दिस आई थिंक, ये अगर आप दिमाग में से ठूस लो ना, तो आप बिल्कुल.
Rightly said, Atya. I would like to share again my experience, Atya. जो थोड़ा बहुत मुझे ASL आता है, and thanks to Helen Keller Institute, जिन्होंने मुझे, just wait, I have to again read this, yeah. So जो भी मुझे ASL आता है with the experience of my deaf blind children, and जो भी मेरा experience था school education को लेके, so this is my personal experience again. I have seen interpreters adding things. शायद वो डेफ ने नहीं कहा, ओके, डेफ ने शायद सिर्फ इतना ही कहा होगा कि गायत्री को पढ़ाना नहीं आता है, सिर्फ यही सेंटेंस कहा होगा, बट उस इंटरप्रेटर्स ने ऐड 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 करके एट द एंड लेबलिंग ही कर दिया है कि गायत्री को कुछ नहीं आता है. जस्ट एन एग्जांपल, ओके. सो दिस आई हैव पर्सनली seen it, experienced it, and I've always shared this experience with my friends, be it Monica, Atya and Kinjal, कि कहीं ना कहीं इंटरप्रेटर्स का भी असेसमेंट होना चाहिए. जैसे राइटली आत्या ने कहा कि 2 साल डिस्ली का कोर्स हो गया एंड आपको सर्टिफिकेट मिल जाता है और आपको लगता है कि आप प्रोफिशिएंट हो, आपका वापस वापस असेसमेंट होना बहुत जरूरी है. बिकॉज आप इंसान को रिप्रेजेंट कर रहे हो, वो जो बोल रहा है आप उसको वॉइस दे रहे हो, तो आप सेम चीज बोले, ना कि खुद का एडिशंस करें. So yes, Satya, I do agree with you on this line. So moving further, in what ways can hearing person, yeah, hearing individual act as an ally to support and collaborate with the deaf community in promoting sign language advocacy? Anybody?
Would you
Wait, I'll
please
change
repeat that? Yeah. It's difficult to understand the interpreters. If you could please repeat.
Yeah. So in what way can an hearing individual support or collaborate with the deaf community in promoting sign language advocacy?
first most important thing is for the hearing to collaborate with the deaf community. Most important is that the hearing person must learn sign language. Basic signs, basic. That's also fine, and that's very important. Even the basic signs matter. Whatever the deaf person demands or whatever the deaf person needs are, the hearing person must support that by spreading information about, like for example, in ISH, like ISH makes one news about the deaf demands for quality interpreters. When the hearing person sees that, they should kind of forward these videos, tell others about it, that get support for that. So that's one way how the hearing person can support. There are many different organizations, there are many projects that are going on. So those projects will the projects that help the deaf community develop. What hearing people do, individuals do is, or companies or organizations do, or even the government do is, they need to support such projects by the deaf people, promote them, give them advice, collaborate with them, so that the project is successful and it will eventually help the deaf children, or their their education will become better, their lives will become better. So such projects by the deaf people should be supported by hearing individuals. Maybe more of also spread more of awareness amongst hearing people. If they meet, like one hearing person meets another hearing person, they start a topic about discussing about deaf people, about their culture, about their lifestyle, respecting them. So just such little such things, various topics about the deaf, share their information with other hearing people. Also, hearing people or companies can make new invention, maybe like a mobile, or develop something, some new technology or something, whatever they are developing must involve deaf people in that. Like I said earlier also, make sure that whatever you are giving is accessible to them. So you need to ask a lot of deaf people, take their advices while making anything that you are making accessible, should be accessible for the deaf as well. Media news, a lot of hearing media in media houses should involve deaf people, give news about them, or have the deaf people have their own stories. They are, the media doesn't know about it. So these are two different worlds. We need to combine them, the hearing world and the deaf world. Deaf success stories, their achievements, these need to be informed to the hearing people as well. So the hearing media houses can do that. And last would be giving them employment, giving them opportunity to work. So deaf hearing people think that okay, it's difficult to work with deaf people, how will we communicate? The deaf person has the skill, but they need to be getting the opportunity to work with the hearing people as well. So the hearing need to hire them. So that's how they can help in.
Thank you, Akil. Such a wonderful. So before we finally break down the session, I would like to know from you three. Sorry, I have to change the spotlight. So thank you, Akil, for your wonderful words and wonderful thoughts. So before we close down the session, I would like to know from you three panelists, what are your takeaway points of the session? Any takeaways for the youngsters? Any takeaways for the teachers? Or any takeaway for the disability ISL students who are going to become teachers and who are going to become the interpreters? Or any takeaway points for the government or for the NIs as well? Understood. Understood.
Again, please.
आप कोई मैसेज देना चाहते हैं हम एनआईस को या डिसलेटेड आईएसएल स्टूडेंट्स को जो इंटरप्रेटर्स बनने वाले हैं और जो टीचर्स बनने वाले हैं, या आपका कोई मैसेज स्क्रिप्ट एंड शॉर्ट टीचर्स के लिए और पेरेंट्स के लिए या इवन डेफ इंडिविजुअल्स के लिए?
Sorry. So at the end, I would definitely like to say thank you so much for inviting us for this discussion. I think when we talk about advocacy, the one message that I would want to leave with for everyone is whether it is the national institutes, whether it is parents, whether it is whoever that is working the community or is part of the community, communication is key. It is the only key that will take a deaf child to success, will take a deaf individual to progress, and will help him lead a better life, whether it is the city or it is a rural space. I think without communication, this is not going to happen. So all stakeholders, whether they are national institutes, whether it's the government agencies, they all need to collaborate, work together to ensure that we take ISL communication to the farthest end of the country. So while we have a lot of apps, right? And these apps teach you basic sign language. Once you start hearing people, once you start using these apps to learn sign language, you will be able to communicate and see the happiness that you will give to the deaf community, deaf children, all of them, even parents. It will take away a lot of their worries as well. So this is my note for everyone. Thank you.
Akhil would like to add to this. Can we change the spotlight? So for this International Deaf Week that we are spreading this awareness, the concepts, we need to have a ripple effect. One drop and there'll be ripples in water. So that's what we need to do. So that will be very impactful. It'll reach everyone. It'll reach far. So all deaf people or in India, around the world, need to be a part of this. They should be more aware. I mean, others also need to be more aware about the deaf people. So what I would like to say that the deaf people are humans, like everybody else. So there is nothing different. Only thing is that they cannot hear, but they still are humans. They have the skills. So once when one of the senses is missing, the visual, the taste, the touch, everything it's the same. They are more excelling in the other four senses. Deaf people are it's an invisible disability. You cannot understand whether the person is deaf or not. You cannot catch that, right? When you see them signing, you will be able to understand. The deaf person needs to, you know, be vocal about they cannot go around telling they have communication gaps. They cannot keep on telling that this is my problem. For blind or physical disabled people, they can speak, they can voice out their things. The deaf find it difficult to do that. So we need to support that. We need to encourage them. And all deaf people needs the love and the support from the hearing community. So as hearing people, do remember, do not fix the deaf person. Okay, he has a problem in the ear, I need to fix that. The hearing people need to be the change for the deaf community. They need to change, they need to learn sign language in order to support and grow the deaf community. So that's what we need. That was my last suggestion.
I think I will add to that with whatever Narayanan sir said and Akhil said. I mean, I totally agree with that. There's one thing that I will add. For so many years now that we've been working with the deaf community, and anytime any hearing person will kind of contact and say, deaf and dumb. Like, so many years now, we're still using the word dumb. Can we just stop that? So please, be aware. कोई भी चीज हमें ढूंढनी होती है, हम सीधा गूगल पे जाते हैं और गूगल बाबा से पूछते हैं भाई इसका मतलब क्या है। गूगल पे अभी खुद बताते हैं कि भाई डेफ वर्ड ठीक है, हाँ, डम का हम इस्तेमाल नहीं करते, तो ये बंद कर दो भाई। कितना कितना और आपको अवेयरनेस देना पड़ेगा इस बात को लेके। ये पहली चीज हो गई। दूसरी चीज ये हो गई, अगर हम जब कोई हियरिंग कम्युनिटी को कोई चीज नहीं मिलती है तो हम बहुत हल्ला करते हैं, हम बहुत डिमांड्स देते हैं कि भाई हमको चाहिए चाहिए चाहिए। लेकिन जब डेफ कम्युनिटी अपनी डिमांड्स देती है और हम देख सकते हैं कि उनको दिक्कतें आ रही है, उनको इतनी अड़चन आ रही है बिकॉज ऑफ कम्युनिकेशन गैप्स, तो क्या हम थोड़ा सा उसमें बदलाव नहीं ला सकते? हम मेंटली उसको एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर सकते कि उनकी साइन लैंग्वेज हमें वो सीखना है? हम काम के लिए एक सिटी से दूसरी सिटी शिफ्ट करते हैं या एक स्टेट से दूसरी स्टेट शिफ्ट करते हैं काम के लिए, वहां की लोकल लैंग्वेज सीखते हैं ना हम। कम्युनिकेट करने के लिए, अपना काम चलाने के लिए, सब्जी लेने के लिए लोकल वर्ड्स इस्तेमाल करते हैं, वैसे ही भाई साइन लैंग्वेज थोड़ी थोड़ी सीख लो। कितना मुश्किल है, इट इज रियली इजी, इट इज फन, एंड ट्रूली हम सोसाइटी को इंक्लूसिव कर पाएंगे। I think this is the last message, and we all kind of say this in so many different ways, but this is it. So if the society can support the community, I think the deaf community will grow like nothing else, you know. And that one dream when I experienced Sweden, where I saw all hearing and deaf people signing, I was like, wo yahan pe India mein kab hoga? That dream is still pending. So I hope that happens soon as well. So that is it. Thank you.
Just 1 sec, yeah. Yeah. So thank you all for joining for such an interactive panel discussion. I extend my heartfelt gratitude to our three esteemed experts for sharing their valuable insights on advocacy. Your contributions have greatly enriched our understanding of this vital topic. I would like to express my appreciation to Kinjal, Atya, and Ashish for voicing and doing sign language interpretation, for ensuring accessibility during the session. Thank you, you three. Your efforts made it possible for everyone to engage fully. Thank you to my director, sir, for initiating such a great International Deaf Week celebration. And yes, NI is celebrating this from 23rd to 29th by live YouTube sessions with deaf experts, by competitions, by games, and various events. So let's continue to stay connected as we work towards our shared goals. Thank you all. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you from all of us. Thank you.
Thank you.